They reminded me of who I was.
Right.
I was lost. My mother had died in '79, November. That influx happened like 6 months after that. And I'll never forget, it bothered me because my mother was waiting for her daughter. My mother's whole fucking life at that time was trying to get my sister out of Cuba. And here she died. So since I was alive, since I came from the States, I would hear her on the phone every day with attorneys and Congress people speaking Spanish, English, trying to get her daughter. And then, but my sister ended up marrying a soldier who was a commie. So by that time, my mom died, and then they opened up Mariel. When my mom died, I didn't touch Cuban food for 2 years. You know, there was no reason to eat Cuban food for 2 years. I was just eating Italian food, and I became a criminal. And I lost who the fuck I was. I was like lost. And then in '84, I finally was homeless, and I went and visited my uncle in California, and he started giving me some of my family history, telling me my mother murdered a guy that tried to rape her sister, and that I was a murderer, and all. And I was like, fuck. So I almost killed my uncle. You know, I was gonna we pulled guns on each other because it was too painful to comprehend the things he was saying to me about my family. Then a year later, I end up in San Francisco. And one day I'm walking just to see what's going on. I'm living in the Tenderloin, which is not the best fucking part of San Francisco at the time. And sure enough, on the block next to, there was a coffee shop. There was a topless coffee shop. You know, the ugliest women, ugliest tits you ever see in your life. Coffee couldn't even save those titties. I forgot what it was called. And it was down the corner. There was a pawn shop. And around that corner was all these, you know, I went down there, and all of a sudden I heard the lingo. What the fuck? What are you guys doing? We're Cuban. Oh, shit, I'm fucking Cuban. And we started talking, and then they told me what they did. They sold nickel bags. You know, they dealt with traveler's checks. So I spoke English. So I was like their leader now. I had a suit, and I spoke English.
What year was this?
'85.
Oh, shit.
So they were running that block down there, and it was hilarious. I learned a lot. You know, I remember one day, it was the guy that you had to pay a vig to, his name was El Puro. Nothing went on that block unless it went through El Puro. El Puro, ELPURO. Yeah. Which means if I want to sell TJ an ounce of Coke, but Mike wants to stab him, we got to go through El Puro, and he gets a taste of whatever we take from Mike. It's just like the mafia, but it's on a block, it's in a small thing. I actually like El Puro because he was old, he was black, a dark-skinned Cuban with white hair and a white beard. And the funniest thing he said to me one day was, I was talking to him, and some Mexican guy comes up to him speaking in English. Excuse me, can I borrow $1 from you? And he goes, what the fuck is wrong with you? He goes, after all the kicks in the ass the Americans did to you, he goes, you want to speak English to me, you dumb motherfucker? He goes, California belonged to the Mexicans, and the white people kicked you out of there, and now you want to speak English? Get the fuck out of here. Speak to me in Spanish, you fuck. And I was like, wow, this guy is fucking heavy duty.
You know El Puro, you know what Cubans call, they don't call cigars.
Right.
They call them puros. Puros. I wonder if that's where that comes from.
Yeah, puro they call him. And then I became friends with a guy, Bambusi, and he was a fucking engineer. He had gone to Germany, and all these, Cuba had sent him there to build, and you know, and now he's in fucking San Francisco selling nickel bags next to me, and I would talk to them every day, and they would tell me about their struggles, how they got picked to play baseball. You had to go to Castro's events, and if you didn't clap 8 hours on Sundays, 10 hours, if they missed you falling asleep, forget it. If you didn't go to work, you went to jail for a year. Oh my God, they just filled me the fuck in. But it gave me that balls I needed at the time. I was still shell-shocked from my mother's death. Yeah. And just getting that education, that little history, reminded me of who the fuck I was. And I started
I asked people. Because I lived in San Francisco in like 84 into 85.
Yeah.
Same time.
I was a bartender there at Haight-Ashbury.
Oh, okay. I lived in the Mission District.
Okay.
Yeah.
I lived in Virginian Hotel on O'Leary, maybe. It was 3 months. I lived in San Francisco, and I apologize to San Francisco every time I fly in there. It was 3 months of just, going to Japantown and fucking cashing traveler's checks. And my God, one of the funniest stories, though, I learned that because when I was a kid, my mother always told me about bugarrons. And she goes, "You look like a bugarron." And I would go, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And one day she told me it's a guy who goes to prison. That's what they call a guy who goes to prison, fucks prisoners, but he lets them suck his dick. He don't suck their dick. He's like the man in the relationship, in a gay relationship, but he doesn't take it in the ass. He just pitches. There's no catching involved with these motherfuckers.
That's how you tell yourself you're not gay.
Yeah.
No, I know this for a fact because it's like there's a famous Cuban musician, Mongo Santa Maria.
Yes.
And when he came to the United States, he lived at the street level. And I was told this by a fellow musician who heard it directly from him. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, we used to go to the meatpacking district in New York City, and I would let gay guys suck my cock." And then his friend said, "I didn't know you were a fag." He said, "I'm no fag. Don't you dare call me a fag. I let him suck my cock. I didn't suck his cock."
It's crazy.
It's a fine line.
Dog, when I was a kid, that shit was being talked around me, and I'm like, that don't sound good. And I remember I had like a guy that used to go to my mother's barn. He used to go, "You should tell one of your 5-year-old, your 5th grade friends to suck your dick. You could talk them into sucking your dick. It'll be a tremendous experience for you." And I'm like, what are you what are you talking about? I don't want a guy suck. I don't even want a girl sucking my dick in the 5th grade. I want a guy sucking my fucking dick in the 5th grade. So, but he had 2 gay guys selling coke for him on the corner, and he would stay in between the both of them. They both had a day shaving. They would put a wig on, heels, hot pants, the blouse, pillows in the titties, and when they would fuck up, he would backhand them right on the street, like knock them down. Estúpida, and he'd punch them, bah, bah, and they'd go down, they'd get back up and fix their wig, and it was like nothing happened.
That's some pimp shit there.
That is white pimp supremacy shit. Yeah. That's Cuban.
But you did time, right? So you know about Fifi?
Mm-mm.
Some Cuban friends of mine in Miami who did some time told me did some serious time, like 20, 25 years. Eventually, they created a vagina. They used like the roll of a used up roll of toilet paper, and then they like dressed it up somehow to give it flexibility, and they called it Fifi. And it was the hottest fucking thing in jail. Everybody wanted Fifi, and some of the prisoners became really good at creating the Fifi. And the Fifi was like you closed your eyes and you put your dick in there, and you thought you were fucking a female. If you had a good imagination, you use your imagination.
I don't have that type of imagination. I really don't.
But how many years did you do?
1.
Okay, if you'd done 10, your imagination would have got a lot better, probably.
No, I had a good imagination. I banged it out in the shower every day. My floor was slippery, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't need to fuck something like the one. What was years ago? What did Rogan have? That you fucked the glass? Remember, everybody bought them. A million fucking things sold. That you came in it, you jerked in the cup. Come on, man.
Yeah, no.
I need a cup in my house for me to come on. No. When that happens, you got fucking problems, man. I don't need that shit.